there's been a backlash from people, and they're like, oh, instead of Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Bro, let me explain. I was thinking this to myself, yeah. I was thinking, why is it Black Lives Matter? Do you know how sad it is, yeah, that black people need to tell us that Black Lives Matter? That alone is the message. That Black Lives Matter means, so you're telling me all lives matter, correct? But black people feel, and it's true, they have a right, they're not bringing it out of, you know, thin air, they feel that their lives don't matter, that their lives aren't taken seriously. So Black Lives Matter is a reminder by black people to say, and by the world to say, hey, you know, our lives matter too. That's the message of Black Lives Matter. And people are coming out and saying, go on. No,
I was just bouncing off the hashtag of all lives matter. I feel like you are the problem when you're saying all lives matter, because it's like that great example. I saw a TikTok from this American girl and I'm sure you've seen the example of the fire, the house on fire.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So the best way to describe how silly you sound when you say all lives matter is the following example, right? Or the following story, however you want to word it. Let's say there's two houses on the opposite sides of the road, my house and your house.
Yeah.
If your house is on fire and everyone is rushing towards Hussein's house with buckets of water, calling the fire brigade, you know, trying to help everyone in the house come out, save them, basically help them, yeah? And then that's like me coming out and saying, well, what about my house? Yeah, but Hader, your house not on fire. Yeah, but is my house still not important though? Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't, silly. G. Like, I'm just saying his house is on fire right now, so he needs help, innit? So let's help him. And it's the exact same concept. It's like, why does it? The thing is, you don't need to say all lives matter, but black people and the Black Lives Matter movement does need to be said. It's a reminder. I've never seen a situation or a scenario in my life where someone has been, I'm not saying it doesn't happen because that would be ignorant of me, but I personally haven't seen someone being oppressed for being white.
No, I don't think.
But I have multiple times, whether that's online or in a workplace or, you know, face to face in school, college, or whatever, uni. But I have seen a person of color, specifically someone from the black community, you know, be essentially a victim of whether that's bullying, whether that's racism, because of their color.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So this whole concept of all lives matter, yeah, but right now, this specific moment, well, generally as well, of course, but right now in this current climate, Black Lives Matter, because if all lives did matter, Black Lives Matter wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So evidently your trend of all lives matter, let's not even get started about these influencers who just, bro, legit, you know that term influencer? It needs to be stripped down, man.
What gave you a right to be? What gave you the right to be an influencer? What value are you adding for you to be an influencer? What, because you're sponsored by Boohoo, you're an influencer? Honestly, it makes no sense. Because you got a 10% promo. It makes no sense. I saw something today actually on Twitter. This is to any white person, yeah. To any white person who's watching this, or regardless of, do you get me? If you're watching this, if you're seeing it on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. If you think that black people aren't treated any differently, or you think that racism doesn't exist, or you think this, or you think that, ask yourself this, yeah? Ask yourself this. You're white, okay? If I gave you the option right now to be treated like a black person is treated, what would you say? Guarantee every single one would say no.
No one would say yes.
So you clearly know there's a difference between the way white people are treated and black people are treated. So how can you therefore turn around and say, oh, they're overdoing it, or they're exaggerating, or this or that, they're not even that bad? No, you can't. That's out the window.
I've said this in a podcast before, yeah, but I think the context was regarding Boris Johnson and stuff and the government. You can't give a solution to a problem
you haven't,
if you have not experienced that problem itself. Do you know what I'm saying? If, for example, you were black and you've faced racism for being black, bruv, how can I relate? Because I've not been through it. Yeah, I might be able to understand, but I just think it's silly that people are missing the point. All lives matter. No one said they don't, man. You're missing the point.
Yeah, and there seems to be this competition with other people.
We gotta have one up
with other people of color. Listen, I'm a person of color. He's a person of color. There's millions of people of color that are supporting Black Lives Movement. Why? Black Lives Matter movement. Sorry. Why? Because we understand that there are brothers and sisters, and they are oppressed more than us.
They're probably the most oppressed.
100%.
And I think again we've said the following in a previous episode of the podcast, and it's not me taking a shot. I'm just speaking from my reality. The black community again, from what I've seen, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, and I'm sure you agree, but the black community is probably the most victimized and picked on community in the world.
100 million%, bro.
And this isn't just 2020. I'm talking from time.
Yeah, and people won't. So it's come to this thing of our people are oppressed. Why don't people speak up? These people are oppressed. But bro, you don't only speak up when it's your people. That's like me. Yeah. That's like me in the playground. Yeah, I'm in school. I'm in the playground. I see another Arab boy being picked on and being bullied. I go and I speak out and I push the bullies away. Then I see a black kid getting picked on and getting bullied. But then I look from afar and say, that's so sad. And then walk on. Why don't you take action to try and change? You don't just look at oppression being done and then you look at the race. No, if you see oppression and it's black and white, there's no color, you're colorblind. You should be able to step in and say this is wrong. You don't need colors to be able to tell you, actually that's a black person. I'm not black, so I don't need to speak up. That should not exist. That should not be a thing. And I'm seeing it too much on Twitter. All lives matter. What about Palestine? What about this? What about that?
What about Syria? What about Palestine? What about Afghanistan? What about
Syria
Pakistan?
themselves on
what
ruins?
About Kashmir? What about this? What about that?
Syrian people themselves on ruins have been supporting the Black Lives Matter movement.
But I've seen graffiti in third world countries.
That's what I'm saying.
Syria,
that's what I'm saying.
In Palestine, you know, I've seen.
But people who sit at home, roof over their head, eating a meal. What about Palestine? What have you done for Palestine, bro? What have you done? What have you done for the Black Lives Matter movement? Bro, it's silly, bro.
The point is,
silly.
We're not even saying you're wrong for saying what about Palestine. Like,
no, I'm not.
Yeah, but like we agree. Like, we're not. Like you just said, it's not a competition. It's not like, the black community are getting the spotlight right now, so let's not take it away from the Arab community or the South Asian community or the Middle Eastern community. We're just saying, right now, this cause needs our attention 100%. More than anything else.
Yeah.
People have been screaming free Palestine for years. People have been screaming free Kashmir for years. People have been screaming F this country and that and this president and
there's no reason why we can't do it all together.
I don't
there's
understand why there has to be that competition element to it all.
There's no reason why the Black Lives Matter movement can't start a whole widespread movement of ending racism, because Black Lives Matter is not just ending racism against black people, it's ending racism in general. Do you get me? It's ending,
not many people understand that concept though.
Because they're silly. Because you're rising up against the government, you're rising up against people who have put these conditions in place for black people and minority ethnic people and people of color to be put in these establishments and these places where they're not going to succeed, where they're going to fall into prison, where they're going to fall into crime. They've put it in that they've set you up. And you're uprising against that, so you think they're only going to look at the black people who are uprising and be like, actually, you know what, let's fix the black people and leave everyone else. No, it's gonna bro, people in the Middle East are flipping going out and having, you know, protests, and people here having protests. If it's only Black Lives Matter, then you only see black people in the street, you only see people from Africa, you only see people from the Caribbean having protests. No, why is it all over the world? It's a movement. It's a movement. It's everywhere.